It's Myles Rowe in the 22 who is out front by 24 points over both Orlando and Denmark. A story you couldn't have written coming in here, Phil. The weekend was absolutely chaotic. 8 points or 9 points per race. If you can gain it back, you end up being the champion at the end of the day. Coming into the weekend, how hard it would have been for him to win this championship, but he is going to get the job done, and you're going to see some emotion when he gets out of that race car on pit lane. Will stand atop the podium as our champion for 2022.
Not who I expected to see.
Yeah, the whole season really close on points. I went from like first to fourth to third to fourth back. It just a lot of in terms of points, there's a lot of changing in positions, and there's quite the spread between where I was in third to the leaders, Michael and Myles.
Going back to Toronto, I remember the past boys at Toronto and Portland they were both really quick, and I personally think that maybe they had the better car than us. So he's definitely in championship running, and at that point I was already sitting third, so he could have backed off.
Yeah, like Jace and I were gonna finish, first. I was finishing first in the first race. He was gonna finish first in the second race, which we did. But I was supposed to finish second behind him, like he did with me in the first race. And that all, kind of went to shit basically. In basically the last passing corner, I got some people call it dive bomb. I just say lunged or whatever, Even with defense, it was all the way down, on the inside where there's no grip in the corner. And luckily, we both didn't get taken out because I was able to keep it out the tires. It was honestly a gift from God because I should have ended up in the tires and not finished the race.
I mean, obviously, racing incident, we collided. He put himself on the wall, and I kept going. But that was the turning point. That was the moment that, I made something happen. I had to. And he looked at me and was like, you're giving Jace the win. You're giving Jace the win. And I'm like, it's not about Jace. It's about me. If I'm going to win, I needed to make that spot. And ever since then, I think I got their heads a little bit.
I just wasn't so happy with third place for doing that because me and third were in the championship fight. We were the ones leading the championship, so it was just kind of unproductive to do such a thing. But yeah, that's coming from someone I was a little bit ahead of him in the championship, so obviously he felt like that is needed. And yeah, it helped him in the end,
While Jace got 2 wins out of that weekend and started to climb back at the lead, I wasn't lost either.
Toronto was like my comeback. I qualified on pole and started pole for the next race, led all the laps. I think I had fast lap, I don't know, but won it, got as much points as I could, and it put me in the fight for a championship at Portland, which I knew I was going to be real good at.
Jace Denmark starting on the pole position for Pabst Racing. Rowe with a chance to clinch it, but we'll see what happens. The other championship contender, Michael Orlando at Hartsdale, New York.
Even though they had the 1-2, sitting back in third was definitely the place to be. Because, you have teammates, not only teammates, but rivals and friends, I guess. When you're going up against a teammate like that, you're in the trailer together constantly. There's no separation, so no matter what, you're always thinking about the other person. I think being back and just watching it all happen and trying to make as clean moves as I can was the optimal position to be in. And even though it's weird saying being slower in qualifying helped me out, it kind of did. So I think that whole weekend was being at the right place at the right time and trying to use my head.
Hold your breath as we're getting ready to fire things up, and this race is green, green, green!
We were really close full time, Myles and I, and we had probably 2-3 tenths on the field. So it was kind of our race.
Chaotic is especially on the starts, chaotic is a little bit of an understatement. Things just were everywhere, and you really just had to find your path to miss the mayhem.
Powering down into turn number 1. Couple drivers together further back, not able to get through. Other drivers coming through the shortcut there on the right side.
The first race got hit from behind by someone, and I got loose into one, but I gathered everything up, and I still went on to win the race. Tried to get overtaken by Nikita and Myles, but held them off and went to win the race. Later that day for the second race, and started pole again, but this time Just got ran over by my teammate.
Denmark gets spun! Denmark gets spun! Contact coming into turn 1!
We were all super emotional and super towards winning a championship. So that put me out of the fight and just tried to run fast laps till the end of the season.
It's just so weird how everything went towards that race, and then everything just it's like everything unraveled like the fates weren't in order that day or something.
He's going to fall down the order. Denmark goes off. Look at this. Michael D'Orlando getting a chance to get himself back into this. Do you believe in miracles and racing? Unbelievable. He came in with a 25-point deficit to Myles Rowe. And right now, the Cape Motorsports driver, 3 more quarters to go. The USF 2000 champion is Michael D'Orlando.
Being a champion, at least in any car racing motorsport, has been a dream of mine since I was a really young kid. And stepping foot into that go-kart when I was 6 years old, and even then, I might not remember everything and all the steps that I've took to get here, but even especially that young, I know it's been in my blood ever since. And being a first-generation driver, my parents didn't drive. Not that I'm pure blood. Just get into this, and I'm driving because I love it, and I have that rush. And especially when I get moments like that, where you're up top on the top of that podium, where you have the championship, it's just like going back to when I was 6 years old and first stepping into that go-kart, wow, this is amazing. This is great. This is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And it's that same raw feeling again. And I cried. There's no other way to put it. It's not tears of sadness, it's tears of joy. It's something that I feel like very few people have been able to witness in their lives. So I'm grateful. I'm really grateful to have the championship behind me and have felt that before, because life's all about experience.
Taking off the helmet was really difficult, knowing it's all over and all that effort and faith and everything, and it didn't work out the way you thought it would. I had to sit not in the trailer, but in the truck, so I make sure no one saw me, and just take a breather, take breaths, close my eyes. There's very few moments that I've had where no thoughts were in my head. I was just there.
All of the focus was on the process of making that the best weekend I could have. People from the outside of racing don't really see how much it takes to go and do this. And, at that moment, after I was out of the car, away from people, I had my moment, and it was right here. I still had my helmet on, just kind of standing here, gonna put on the dryer, and just had a moment of just defeat, and it was all I could give, and that was it, really.
Like you said, in the moment, especially when something like that happens, I was 1 or 2 positions away from clinching the championship in that great race. I really believed I was gonna have it, all the way up to the point where I thought I thought Michael was his car wasn't gonna pass tech or something. I really believed that hard. Our boss, Augie Paps, he came into the truck and talked to me a little bit and helped me out. But yeah, man, at the end of the day, it was just about just taking a couple deep breaths, finding your space real quick, and just taking a moment to separate what just happened so that you can move on. Even though we had all those difficulties, first of all, I learned a lot from that weekend. If I become whenever, a champion later in my life, purely because of Portland. Second of all, because of that last race when I got hit, when Jace got spun and then he accidentally hit me, and I had to pit and come back, I ended up having the best, the most fun race in my life that race. It was like a video game, passing people, just coming from the back, and just take him out one lap at a time. I think one time I passed 2 people going into one corner, which I think was my first time I've ever done that. It was a really great race after I was able to take it in. It was a good race for me. And like that race actually like moved people. Like there were many people who came up to me after that weekend, and still do, and like talk about how like motivating that race was, which just blows my mind.
It's not about the outcome, it's about the process. Once you focus on that, that's how you get to the next step and the next step. And eventually, you find yourself winning a championship. So we had everything in line last season. There's no reason why we can't do that this season.
First of all, I think the motivation comes from like, I can do this. Like knowing that you were so close lets you know that, you know, you basically had it in some alternate reality. You had that, I had that championship, you know, sort of a thing. So I know if I make the correct moves this year, I can have the championship, you know, with the right team and the right car, which I think I have. So like that's very motivating to know that I can choose the right, you know, the right choices to make, the right things to do. And yeah, it's the knowledge of knowing that I'm quick, the knowledge of knowing that I'm smart on the field, the knowledge of all the past experiences that I've had, and being able to apply that to this season, is extremely motivating.
I mean, I love Myles and Jace. They're great competitors, and I mean, forever and always will be respectful, and they're my friends. So obviously, I wish well on them, but I think, I mean, they put on a good year, and I ended up coming out on top, which is, it's just a great feeling. And I mean, kudos to them. They put on a huge fight for me last year, and hopefully we can do the same thing again this year. And hopefully I can come up on top again this year too. So yeah, Myles and Jace, watch out. I might be a repeat of last year.